Here's an overview of the knots, the macrame knots that I used for this project. This is a Lark's head knot, or a Lark's knot. So for this knot, get your end pieces together so that the other end is a loop. Take the loop over and pull the strings through. And that's your Lark's knot. So again, for this project, everything needs to be divisible by 4 because each knot is going to require 4 strings. So for the square knot, have your center pieces together. Take the left side and drape it over the center pieces. The right one goes over that left piece and then behind the center pieces and pull it through. And pull everything tight. The first row is the most difficult in getting tight, but once you do, it's not difficult after that. Then to complete the square knot, the right side goes over and the left one goes behind. That's your square knot. So the same thing will happen for these two pieces. The two center ones are together. Left is over, right goes over that left piece, but behind the center ones. Then the right one comes over, the left goes over that right one and behind the center ones. So those are your square knots. Now to get the mesh type look and to connect everything together, you'll do alternating rows, where one row would be like this, and then the next row you're connecting everything together. And on the every other row, the two end pieces will not be used. So that is your 4 pieces that won't be used, but there's 2 on each end. So then again, we're connecting the center pieces for the square knot, which will combine these 2 groups together. Left is over, right is over that left piece and behind. And then the right is over, left is over the right piece and behind. Okay, those are the square knots. So then for coming back to alternating our rows, so then for the next row, then you're using your end pieces again, and you're still just connecting the center pieces, same as the same square knot, and you're just making sure that there's some evenness to it, so you're not going to be pulling it as tight. So I'll show you how I was adding the twine. So again, we're still just stick with the square knot here. So for adding the twine, say I'm going to add the dark blue, this one. So for adding it, I'm still doing my square knots. So on the second loop of the square knot, what I'm going to do is before I pull it tight, I'm going to add in my piece of dark blue where I need it. So again, I'm going to still kind of go with that Lark's head or Lark's knot, where I'm pulling the end pieces together and getting the loop, finding the center point. And then, so my dark blue is on this side, so I'm going to put the end through there and just pull half of it through so that I still have that loop, or the length. The length is the same. Then I'm going to find those pieces and pull everything tight. Then, so theoretically, you're going to be adding this when you're almost out of twine. So there would be short pieces. So for the next knots, here, let me do, okay, let's do this row and then I can show you. So this is still our center row. This is our every other one. We're leaving the end pieces alone for this one. Still square knots. Okay. So now I have twice as many strings over here, but again, theoretically, a couple of them should be short. But what I do is I always add my short pieces to the center. So you're still just going to have one string on the outsides and everything else will be in the center. So it makes your center a little bulky, but you really don't notice it. So then again with the square knots, again a little bulkier, but as you're going, you don't really notice it. And see, that was the first one, so everything's a little more jumbled up there, but as you keep going, it works its way in. Now, the other one that I used that twisted was a half square knot. So for that one, again, we're still using the 4 pieces of twine, but instead of, for the square knot, we took it over to the left, and then for the second part of the square knot, we took the right piece. But for the half square knot, we're always just going to be working from the left, and it will create the twist. So again, just working from the left. Same process that we're going, still draping it, and still the one side comes over and then behind. But for the half, so you can already see it starting to twist. It's always the left that we're draping towards the right. Twist. And to add twine for the half square knot, what I do is the piece that I'm going to be adding the orange. I have that be the one that I'm draping to the right. But then again, before I pull it tight, I'm doing the same process as before. I'm doing halves, so make sure my ends are together, and I have my lark knot, and I'm pulling it through. But again, just pulling half of it through. But this time, I want to remember my short piece, because that's where my tightness is going to come in, and pull it tight. But this one I don't, because we're not doing anything with these center pieces, the length of that center piece should be shorter rather than longer. So I'm actually going to pull this all the way through so that I have most of the length to work with. Now the end, both short piece ends, I'm going to again combine to the middle, and then just keep going with the twist, the half square knot. See, for the twists, that bulk in the middle, you really don't even notice. Okay, and that's how your twists keep going. So those are the lark knot, the square knot and the half square knot. These are the knots that we're using in this project. Okay, even though we're not using the center pieces in our half square knot twists, we still need to keep adding twine to them to keep them going as long as we are doing our half knots. So to add the twine, I just start my knot and then slip the new piece of twine in. And pull the knot tight. Then I start my second knot, or the second half knot, and before I pull it tight, I pull this piece down even with the piece of twine from above, and then pull it tight. And then I just keep going. Now you don't have to worry about this piece because, or having extra pieces, it will all get filtered in. But I'm going to pull this one out because I don't need it right now, and I want to show you how I was attaching the bells to the bottom. Now this knot is going to represent our bell. So I threaded the bell on the twine, and I had two ends of it. So what I did is similar, how I attached it was similar to what I did before for adding twine to this knot. And I keep measuring so that the bell just barely touches the ground, and I would take my knots all the way down to the top of this, and then when it came time to add this one, I would start my knot, slip these pieces in, pull the knot tight, and start the second knot, and then pull them down level. And make sure that both sides are even. And then pull my knot tight. Maybe straighten it out some more. And then just keep doing your half square knots. Now I took mine all the way down to the top of the bell. So I kept my twist and my half square knots going all the way down to here.